Selling Association, and we don't publish our numbers publicly for a reason. And it's a strategic reason that we have chosen from the very start that for doTERRA, it's about you and it's about the oils and it's not about revenue and profits. And that's never been a focus for us. We've been afraid, and we still believe that if we published our very high growth rate numbers that I'll show to you in a minute, that we'd attract a whole element of opportunists and others to doTERRA that may have a negative impact on our culture. We have not wanted to do that. Yeah. So it's a strategic decision that we have made, but we do recognize at an event like this with leaders, I recognize this very well, that so many of you are committing your life to doTERRA, and it's your future. And we have an obligation to you as partners to tell you exactly where we are. We don't tell the world, but we'll tell you because we want you to know, and we want you to know exactly what's happening with doTERRA. I have to tell you, when I see on Facebook announcements about another leader's husband quitting their job because they're just focused on doTERRA, I get excited, and then I'm like, okay, there's more commitment here. We have to really make this work. But I want you to know that there's a reason that we don't participate in this. But for us, I will tell you, if you look at this chart, this was published last year. It will be published again in April. They do this every year. But so these are the most recent numbers that we have. And in this chart, you can see that there's 20, these are the top 20 companies that are listed in that chart. And companies that release their numbers. About half of these companies are international companies. 5 or 6 of them are Chinese companies. Several of them are telecommunication or other companies. And so you really narrow down the list to US-based direct selling companies. If you look at that chart, if I were to tell you where doTERRA is, doTERRA places right there between about $1.5 billion and just over $2 billion in revenue. That's where doTERRA is today. We're between number 11 and number 13 on this chart is where we are. The good news is that doTERRA is now just reaching our 10th anniversary, and if you take the top 10 or 12 companies, their average age is 45 years, okay? So there's a big, big difference between doTERRA and these other companies. Now, more importantly than where we place in revenue, I want to talk about our growth and what's happening with doTERRA. So we took, the Direct Selling News has been putting out this publication for many years. So we've tracked companies' revenue over time and looked at their growth rates. And so this chart takes these same 20 companies and looks at their growth rate. What's called the CAGR is compound annual growth rate, or CAGR. The compound annual growth rate for the number of years that there's information about these companies, and we looked at what their growth rate is. You can see that it goes from a high of 29% down to a low of negative 15%, okay? So declining, and you can see where these companies are. Jeunesse has grown through acquisition and other investments internationally. But they have grown, and they're growing at 29%. So where does doTERRA fit in this chart? Well, we would be number 1 by a mile, okay? So the growth rate for doTERRA is 55% over the last 5 years. So it's tremendous growth, and you can see why, if we were to publish this information, why we'd get attention from the media. I should also mention that, you know, as an ownership team, we're really pretty private individuals, and we really don't want the attention to be taken away from essential oils and what essential oils do, and we would love to keep the attention with you. Overall, I will tell you that we are staying very, as a private company, we are very principle-based and not profits-based. And there's a distinct difference that I want you to understand, because we're investing for your future and doing things to make a difference in the world, and we want it to always be about the oils and the benefit that are going to farmers and to people, and not about the company and what's happening at the company. I'll show you one more chart. This is a chart that shows how doTERRA is doing in the United States and Canada, okay? And in this chart, you can see that if we take the top companies from that other chart that are US based in terms of their US revenue, as best we can tell, we look at what their revenue is in the US and Canada, and by far, doTERRA becomes the largest company in the United States and Canada. So, congratulations to all of you. If we look at a few other companies that are listed, I hear about these companies from some of you, about amazing things these companies are doing.